Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Pregame Show brought to you by BetUS. Good morning, Bucs fans. Hope everybody's in a great mood as the Buccaneers attempt to go 3-0 to begin the season as they face against the Denver Broncos today at 1 o'clock at Raymond James Stadium. We're going to break it down with all the top matchups to watch for this morning. So I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is my fellow colleague and the face that runs the place at PewterReport.com, SR Scott Reynolds. Scott, this is a great opportunity for the Bucs to start out 3-0, and if all goes right, they will be undefeated after this 1 o'clock game.
They should be. Talent doesn't always win games, execution does, but the Buccaneers do have a chance to go 3-0. And every time they've gone 3-0, they've made the playoffs and they've had double-digit winning seasons. I expect that'll be the case today. This is a Denver team that's going to have to fight some heat and humidity. And if you watched the USF Miami game last night, which was a crampathon, I mean, that game lasted like 4.5 hours because every other play there was a player going down with cramps. And that was a night game. This is a day game. So you can only imagine if you're the Denver Broncos, you boarded the plane yesterday. It was about 50 degrees in Denver. And the kickoff temperature is going to be 88 degrees today, humidity around 77%. Matt, it's only going to get hotter as the afternoon goes on, and the feels-like temperature, when you factor in the humidity at kickoff, is probably going to be close to 100. And again, that temperature is only going to climb as the game progresses.
Yeah, rotations and subbing guys in and out is going to be key for both sides. I mean, let's remember Levante David in that first game had to leave for a little bit to get fluids because of, the dehydration of playing in Tampa. And, they had all training camp where they're practicing in that Florida weather. I mean, they barely went inside to the indoor facility and it still impacted the Florida team. So if it comes down to a battle of depth, I certainly like the Bucs depth more than what the Denver Broncos have, but also that depth is getting tested for the Buccaneers as there's going to be no Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey and no Antoine Winfield Jr. again, and same with Luke Gedeke at right tackle. So it's a little bit of a war of attrition early on this season for the Buccaneers, but again, so far so good at 2-0, and like we said, a very favorable matchup to go 3-0 early in September, or I guess late in September. We're already in the 20s.
Yeah, and there was some news yesterday. The Buccaneers officially said, and no surprise, that Vita Vea was downgraded to out. He was listed as doubtful on Friday. And the Buccaneers also ruled out Cameron Johnson, the undrafted rookie wide receiver. So they made two moves yesterday, signing Mike Green from the practice squad up to the active roster to give them some defensive line depth. And what that means, too, is I think we're going to see more of Ben Steele today at defensive tackle because they didn't elevate C.J. Brewer. And they're at the point now where they can only elevate a player 3 times from the practice squad. So Mike Green now, this is his third activation because he's been active for all 3 games. Maybe some strategy there. Go ahead.
Yeah, they signed C.J. Brewer to the active roster. So he's on the 53-man roster, but they elevated Mike Green. So I think they did that because they're going to continuously keep using C.J. Brewer depending on how long Vita's going to be out for, and same with Kalijah Kancey. But Mike Green, this is their last time to elevate him, which will be important to pay attention to.
And hopefully they get either Vita Vea or Kalijah Kancey back for the Eagles game. That's what the team hopes. They'll wait and see how these players progress, but they certainly need them back for the Falcons game because that's a divisional game. You got to go to Atlanta on Thursday night and get that win. Today, not like they're taking the Broncos lightly, Matt, but we talked about it before. This is an AFC team. Tampa Bay already has 2 key NFC wins, including a really big one last week against Detroit. But they're going to need to be closer to full strength against the Philadelphia Eagles when they come to town next Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we saw last year how important tiebreakers were for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you obviously want to win every game, and you don't want to be in a tie with, other divisional opponents and conference opponents. But if you were going to drop one, I guess you'd rather drop one against an AFC team. But like we keep saying, this isn't the game that you want to drop.
It would be a bad look, right?
Yes, it would still be a very bad look, especially
the 0-2 Broncos
with the roller coaster the Bucs have coming up on their schedule. Which looks tougher and tougher just based on like how the Saints have played, and we'll see how the Falcons look today, or I guess tonight.
Yeah.
After a big time win
Yep.
last week on Monday Night Football. So yeah, it'll be tough sledding for the Bucs after this. So they got to get this one today. We got a super chat to begin the show, and our rule: if you super chat us, we're happy to get into it ASAP. So thanks to Revfish for this $4.99 super chat, who says, on the way to church, but wanted to ask if you think Baker has been an elite quarterback since Green Bay last year, and should he be considered one?
That's a good question. I think there have been times where he's played at an elite level for sure. Is he an elite quarterback? I mean, I reserve that moniker for
Elite's a
truly
special category.
Yeah. I mean, is he Patrick Mahomes level? No, he's not. And I don't think that there's anyone that thinks maybe that he is. Has he had some fantastic performances? Yes, there's no doubt. You look at that Green Bay game that you mentioned, he threw 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. The next week, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. New Orleans was 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So you're looking at 6, 8. And then if you want to factor in the playoffs, 3 touchdowns against the Eagles, 3 touchdowns against the Lions, but with 2 interceptions. And then this year, off to an incredibly hot start through 2 games with 5 touchdown passes, which is tied with Derek Carr for the lead. He's racked up the touchdowns, Matt. He's also racked up the wins. As I posted on X on our Pewter Report account this week, the Buccaneers are 8-2 in their last 10 games, including the postseason. That's second only to the Buffalo Bills at 9-1, including the postseason. So I think the Buccaneers are playing at an elite level, and I think there have been some times where Baker Mayfield has been elite, but I can't call him an elite quarterback, though.
Yeah, especially, again, because elite is really reserved for only a couple of quarterbacks, and really only a couple of quarterbacks in the history of football. If you're going to say elite, you have to factor in that loss to the Saints late in the season, that game against the Panthers, which understandably Baker was quite injured, but they won the game 9-0. So you can't say elite there. But what I will say is really pretty much since Green Bay, and certainly at the start of this season through 2 games, he's playing at a Pro Bowl caliber level. I mean, people are calling him the MVP of September.
Yeah.
I think if he continues to consistently play well or consistently make plays, because, last week was a little bit more of a gritty performance than it was a stylistic performance by any means. But if that's the case, then Baker can be a Pro Bowl quarterback this year with an initial nomination and not getting in because Brock Purdy had to sit out because he was going to the Super Bowl. So he's somewhere between elite and like second team All Pro at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do. Also, what's fair is the fact that BetUS, which is the sponsor for today's Pewter Pregame show, the point spread for this week's Bucs game is Tampa Bay -6.5. So the Buccaneers are clear favorites at home. I smashed that, Matt. I don't know how you feel about that line, but I smashed it pretty hard. So I'm hoping to make up for that terrible L that I took at last night's Kansas State game where they got throttled by BYU. So hopefully the Buccaneers come through, not just for their fans, but also for those who bet at BetUS. And here's the great thing about BetUS. They've got 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance when you sign up using promo code Pewter. U.S. players welcome, of course. So BetUS, they've been in business for 30 years. 30 years. That's one of the longest sports books around. And they've got incredibly fast payouts. They've got a very easy website to navigate. You can also get the app as well. But what we want you to do is sign up using the promo code Pewter. And there's plenty of prop bets to get in on, Matt, as well as point spreads, money lines for the Buccaneers game, as well as all of the games, college and pro, as well as other sports as well, including UFC. So go visit betus.com and get in on that 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, not just 1, but your first 3, plus 10% gambler's insurance using the promo code Pewter.
By the way, I have my show, Pewter Picks and Props. I have
Yeah.
5 Bucs player props to get to.
Ooh,
But I'm
let's
on a
go.
heater right now because I went 6-1 in college football, and I made
Oh,
my
man.
NFL picks and my Buck picks around the same time as I made my college football picks.
Yeah.
So I'm on the heater after going 6-1 yesterday. So
Nice.
tune in after you watch this show. Watch Pewter Picks and Props.
Yeah.
It's 20-minute video. You can already skip forward through the college football because those
Yeah.
games happen. But yeah, make sure you check it out on our YouTube
And
channel.
it's on Pewter Report TV.
Yes.
Yep.
Also known as our YouTube channel.
Yep. Let's get to some of the matchups for today's game. We've talked about the weather; it's going to be hot. We've talked about who's not playing. Let's talk about some of the guys that are playing today, and let's just kind of dive right into the matchups on defense for the Buccaneers, because I think the defense is really going to have a day today. They had a day last week against the Lions, holding them out of the end zone in the fourth quarter. Matter of fact, their defense was so good, they were 1-7 in the red zone. And that fourth quarter up in Detroit featured a punt by the Lions, an interception by Christian Izien, and then 2 turnovers on downs back-to-back to help Tampa Bay get the win. They're going up against a rookie quarterback today, and with the exception of C.J. Stroud, if you look at the quarterbacks, the rookies that Todd Bowles has faced, it was Jaden Daniels in week 1. Got a win there. And then last year, they went 3-1 against rookie quarterbacks. Bryce Young, they played him twice, beat the Panthers both games, and really kind of took it to Will Levis as well in that Tennessee game. So can Tampa Bay's success against rookie quarterbacks continue today? Yeah. We don't have Bo Nix listed here on these matchups, but he's going to play a pivotal role. Can he throw the ball longer than 5 yards? Well, he's completing 30% of his passes with 4 interceptions on throws beyond 5 yards, Matt. That's not good.
No, it's not good at all. And if there was going to be a Bo Nix versus matchup for this, I think it would be Bo Nix versus Todd Bowles.
Yes.
Just in the way that Bowles can design things, give different looks, but not even let you know who's actually going to be the one, going after the quarterback. So oddly enough, I think this could be a game, Scott, where yes, the Bucs want to generate pressure, and I think they will with guys like Yaya Diaby that you see on the screen there. But as we know, Bowles also likes to drop back his outside linebackers.
Yeah.
He'll send Levante David off the edge and things like that. I think because it's a rookie quarterback who struggled throwing the ball down the field, so he may be a little more inclined to get some of those short passes going. We could get a quirky turnover today, whether it's an outside linebacker getting an interception or, maybe a DT does something crazy. But I don't know. I think we're going to see an odd turnover today, whether it's Yaya or JTS. Like someone's going to get an interception that I don't think that we would expect to.
Yeah, and we even had a bit of an audacious Pewter Report roundtable this week where we all said, who's going to pick off Bo Nix? Because Bo Nix has thrown 4 interceptions, 2 in each of his first 2 games. And Tampa Bay got 2 interceptions. Probably should have had 3 more last week in Detroit. So we'll see. But let's get to these matchups here on the defensive side. We'll give the defense their props. Jamel Dean versus Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton's going to be moved all over the field, but primarily he's seen most of his reps on the left side. That means Jamel Dean, who is the right corner for the team, will match up with him probably the most. Courtland Sutton's a big wide receiver. The good news for the Buccaneers, Jamel Dean is a big cornerback. He's got the size and the speed and the experience to battle this big receiver down the field. Can Bo Nix get him the ball? That's kind of been the question, right? And I like this matchup with Jamel Dean.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big fan of it. I really like the way that Jamel Dean bounced back last week after allowing the big play to Jameson Williams.
Yes.
That could take others out of the game, but Jamel Dean in his career has always done a good job of kind of, wiping the slate clean and moving on to the next play after it's been done. He's been tasked, even when Carlton Davis was here, at times, depending on the speed and kind of the size of the receiver, there have been times where Jamel Dean has, had to run with the number ones. And in my opinion, Courtland Sutton's a little overrated, in my opinion. I mean, I think people like to put him on a pedestal, maybe because like fantasy football, it's like, oh, he's the best option on the Broncos. But sometimes he gets put on a pedestal with, some of the other better receivers in the league. And I just don't totally see it, at least not yet. And,
I'm with you.
Not having good quarterback quarterback play doesn't help either. But yeah, I'm going to take Jamel Dean in this matchup. I think he's got a lot to prove this year. We've talked about his contract situation a lot in the offseason. So I think Jamel Dean keeps it rolling.
We saw what happened in Detroit last week, Matt, when Baker Mayfield had a backup right tackle in front of him.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson happened to the tune of 4.5 sacks, 3 of which were against Justin School, the replacement tackle for Luke Eddick, who is out today. So we're going to see School back in there, and hopefully he'll be better against Zach Allen. We'll get to that matchup on the other side of it. But the Broncos have their own right tackle problems. Mike McGlinchey is out. He is on injured reserve. And that means Yaya Diaby, who has had 5 pressures in the first game, 7 pressures in the last game, including 2 quarterback hits on Jared Goff that had kind of an accumulative effect. Well, he's going to go up against Alex Pileski, who is the backup right tackle, getting his first start today on the road in Tampa Bay against the 2-0 Bucs team and against a blitzing Todd Bowles defense, and he'll be facing Yaya Diaby a lot. Matt, who do you like?
Today is the breakout game for Yaya Diaby. And I mean breakout in terms of just having a big statistical day, which we haven't seen just yet. You had already mentioned the pressures, and he's getting to the quarterback. He's getting to that pocket and making it more difficult for the passers throughout the first 2 weeks. I think he would have had a sack against Washington if it wasn't for the speed of Jaden Daniels. So that's not going to be the case going up against Bo Nix, who can move, but obviously no one can move like Jaden Daniels. So I think Yaya has a double-digit sack game. I have him as one of my props to record a sack this game, which is plus money if you go to BetUS and you want to bet on it. So I'm all in on Yaya today. I mean, Yaya against starting right tackles is usually a pretty favorable matchup. Now you get a backup, and like you said, we saw how it looked for the Bucs with Justin School. I can't imagine it being much better for the Broncos.
I agree. I'm with you on Yaya Diaby getting multiple sacks. I'm with you. I think he gets more than 1 sack here. The inside linebackers, KJ Britt and Servassier Dennis, who are going to continue to platoon because Todd Bowles says, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is working pretty good. We did see Servassier Dennis climb up over the top of KJ Britt in terms of not just statistics with the tackles, but also snaps. He outsnapped him by a handful of snaps in Detroit. But Javonte Williams really has to get on track. He is the running back for the Broncos that they need to really come through. Right now, he is the second leading rusher in Denver with 40 yards through 2 games. That's not good, especially when Bo Nix, the quarterback, is the leading rusher with 60 yards. That's not good.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to try to take some of the pressure off of Bo Nix in the passing game by establishing the run. That has not been easy in Denver. They've really struggled to do that. Their interior offensive line is not the best, but will they have some success today without Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey in the middle of Tampa Bay's defense? Matt, how do you like these inside linebackers matching up against Javonte Williams, who can also be a little deadly in the screen game too?
That's true. Yeah, the screen game could be a big factor for Denver today, especially if they're struggling in other areas. I'm going with Britt and Dennis in this one because I love how steady Eddie KJ Britt can be, and Servassier Dennis has been great for 2 weeks. What I'm very curious about, though, as far as a bigger topic for the Bucs is, week 1 against Washington, they jumped out to that lead, and it kind of forced the Commanders to be a little more one-dimensional and have to throw the football. And last week, it was a close game. The Lions could have ran whatever offense they wanted to, even late in the game, except for with a minute left.
Yeah.
And they found some success running the football, but didn't consistently do it. It was a little bit of an odd play calling pattern by the Lions last week. And I'm curious if they stuck with running the football all the time, would they have gotten the better of the Buccaneers, especially when Vita Vea was out of that game? So I don't know how much the Bucs have really been tested against stopping the run. We know historically Todd Bowles' defense have been great at doing it. And the Broncos having the worst ground game so far in the NFL also helps out the Bucs not having Vita and Kalijah Kancey. But I'm just curious how much they'll get tested compared to, what they've seen so far this season. But with all that said, I will take Britt and Dennis.
I'm with you on that. I think you said it eloquently. I don't have anything else to add other than I predicted that Servatier Dennis is going to get his first interception today. Will it be a pick six? I wouldn't rule that out. This is a guy that when he gets the ball in his hands on those passes in practice, hey, he takes them to the house. So I'm going to say Servatier Dennis will get his first NFL interception today, just like I called Zion McCollum's first interception last week. And I wouldn't even rule out a pick six. How about that? But let's
All
get
right, yeah.
to the next one here. Greg Gaines versus Ben Powers. Boy, Greg Gaines was the Iron Man last week, playing 66 snaps on defense against the Detroit Lions when Vita Vea went out in the second half with that knee injury. So he went from being a co-starter next to Vita Vea, filling in for the injured Kalijah Cansey, to really having to play nearly every down in the second half because of the loss of Vita Vea. And he played pretty good. He was really kind of one of those unsung heroes up front. Wasn't maybe an impact player, but was super solid for the Buccaneers, providing a little bit of pass rush. Even had a quarterback hit on Jared Goff in the second half. So he's kind of got some sneaky speed. And when you look at Denver's offensive line, it's just bad. I don't always rely on PFF grades, Matt. But if you look at the PFF grades through the first 2 weeks, the worst rated offensive lineman is Garrett Bowles. He's the left tackle, and he's got a 47.9 grade. Ben Powers, the guard, has got 48.9, not much better. Quinn Miners, the other guard, 50.5. Luke Wattenberg, the center, 50.9. So that offensive line is not good. I wouldn't be surprised if Greg Gaines gets a sack today, Matt. What say you?
Yeah, he had a quarterback hit in that game against the Lions, and I'm not fully all in on Greg Gaines just as a pass rusher, but I think it says more about Denver and their struggles along the offensive line than it necessarily says about Greg Gaines. But he's going to play a big role in this game. I think most importantly, it's just make sure you stop the run, because worst case scenario, that's when you rely on the blitzes and you rely on Yaya getting that outside pass rush, but you have to make sure you get into those third down passing situations. So as long as Greg Gaines can do his job stopping the run along with Green and Brewer, the Bucs will be fine, and I'll take them in this matchup because of it.
Yeah, I agree. So far, we're all Buccaneers. Is that going to change with Zion McCollum versus Josh Reynolds? Zion McCollum flying high off of his best game as a pro, 4 pass breakups, a team high, a career high. One of those was his first interception. It came on the first pass of the game by Jared Goff, and that was a big kind of early momentum swing for the Buccaneers. It gave this Buccaneer defense some confidence. That's something they had not been able to do against Jared Goff in 2 games last year. Zion comes through with the pick. Today, Matt, he's going up against Josh Reynolds, someone who hurt them last year when he was with the Lions. But that was as wide receiver 3, right, with Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Josh Reynolds kind of had a little bit more room to move. He was kind of like a little bit of a under-the-radar guy. Now he's wide receiver 2 in this Denver offense that's really struggled, and I think he's more of a 3 than he is a 2. Do you envision problems for Zion McCollum against Josh Reynolds?
Yeah, it's funny. I like Josh Reynolds, and if this was the Lions' Josh Reynolds, I'd probably give this a push, but he's not. He plays for Denver, and Zion, as you already outlined, was tremendous last week. So based on all of those factors, you have to go with Zion McCollum again, unless Josh Reynolds somehow turns into the Lions' version of Josh Reynolds, who scored a touchdown in Tampa last season. But Zion was great. If he can build upon what he did, we're talking about taking this defense to another level. Hopefully he can get another interception. We all know his 6 interception quota this year. So it's a clean sweep. It's Zion McCollum.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So we like the Buccaneers defense big against the Broncos. That's definitely a good thing. And let's take a look at the offense now, Matt. When it comes to Tampa Bay's offense, well, we need to see a little bit more from Justin School, who got schooled last week by Aiden Hutchinson. Now, that's not really a fair fight. We're talking about the 2nd overall draft pick just a couple of years ago, a Pro Bowler in Aiden Hutchinson going against a 6th round pick, the swing tackle for Tampa Bay, Justin School. He's got if it's an easier matchup, it's a different matchup. Zach Allen is still formidable. He's a force now. He's a very big physical player, similar to Hutchinson. Maybe not the elite pass rusher that Hutchinson is, but he can still be a bit of a game wrecker if he's not under control.
Yeah, he's been, putting in the work for the Broncos as far as being the most productive, really one of the most productive defensive players on their team. Obviously, he plays a different position than Patrick Surtain. But because of that, because of the struggles that Justin School had, I'm going to go with Zach Allen in this one. So the Broncos finally get on the board. I do think Liam Cohen will make a lot of adjustments and kind of learn from the trials and tribulations that was last week. So maybe we see different types of chips. Maybe we just see different types of, added help. Cohen spoke this week about he won't bring in an extra lineman on third down because it kind of telegraphs what they're doing. But on first and second down, he's open to it. So I think we'll see him use that to try to neutralize Zach Allen. But Justin School's got to prove it before I'm going to pick him. So I'll go with Zach Allen.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. Again, just being honest here, I think that he's going to give Justin School some problems. Not as many problems as Aiden Hutchinson presented last week. But one guy who's not going to have a lot of problems is Tristan Wirfs, the left tackle, versus Jonathan Cooper, who is maybe the best outside pass rusher that the Broncos have. He already has a sack this year. How do you see Tristan Wirfs start to the season, and is this a win for the Buccaneers, or are you concerned about what Jonathan Cooper can do coming off the edge?
No, it's a win for the Bucs. It's Tristan Wirfs, one of the best tackles in the league. I will say the Bucs got to clean up some of their miscommunication because there was a play last week where the defender just went right by Tristan Wirfs, but Tristan was looking the other direction, so it wasn't like he just beat him with skill and technique. On the play, so they got to make sure they have that. But I'm taking Tristan Wirfs against almost any pass rusher in the league. So this one goes to Tristan.
I'm with you on that. Bucs running backs. We say this because we're not sure who's going to get the ball more. Is it going to be Rachaad White? Is it going to be Bucky Irving? Are they going to split the carries? Close to 50-50. But Alex Singleton might be the best front seven defender for the Broncos in terms of a playmaker. He's got an interception on the season. They do blitz him quite a bit. He's kind of that man in the middle that you have to account for. And he'll be matched up with both of these backs, not just between the tackles stuffing the run, but also out there in the pass game as well.
So when it comes to running the football, I like Bucky Irving over Alex Singleton, but I'll take Alex Singleton over Rachaad White. But if it's in a passing game and it's a screen and things like that, I'll take Rachaad White over Alex Singleton and maybe Alex Singleton over Bucky Irving. But I think that speaks more to how the Bucs will attack the Broncos today and really just how they've attacked on offense so far in 2 games this season. So I guess overall, I'll take the Bucs running backs. I think they get a little bit back to, if granted the health of Rachaad White, if he's truly able to go as he deals with that groin injury. We know the Bucs want to establish the run today. I think that's more on the offensive line than it is Bucky Irving and Rachaad White or vice versa. But something's got to give in that area specifically, and I think we see Rachaad be more of a threat in the passing game like he was in week 1. But we'll see. I'll take the Bucs running backs.
I am too. I think this is a bounce back game for Tampa Bay's ground game. We saw Bucky Irving kind of have a big breakout run against the Commanders at the end of that game in the fourth quarter. And I think he gets more yards than Rachaad White does. It'll be interesting to see how that groin injury that Rachaad White played through last week, if that's still a factor. Groin injuries and sprained ankles, those are 2 things that can come back and bite you at any point in time during the season. It's a minor injury for Rachaad White. Hopefully he's past it, but I like the Bucs running backs against Alex Singleton today. I think this is a get-well game for Tampa Bay's ground game. The Broncos come in allowing an average of 143 yards per game on the ground. Last time I checked, not good. Not good at all.
No.
What is good is Mike Evans. Mike Evans is really good, especially early in the season. He's already got 2 touchdowns now in the first game of the season against the Commanders. He loves scoring touchdowns and tossing those balls into the stands for Buccaneer fans. I think he gets a touchdown again today. And when he does, he will become the Bucs' all-time leading scorer. That's right. He'll have scored more points than any Bucs kicker or any Bucs player in Bucs history. So this could be a milestone game for Mike Evans, but he's going to have to face Patrick Surtain, the highest paid cornerback in the league, certainly one of the better cornerbacks and certainly the best player on the Broncos defense. He's going to see a lot of single coverage. Baker Mayfield loves when Mike is singled up almost as much as Mike loves it when he's singled up. I'm going to give you my pick after your commentary, Matt, and your pick. Who do you like in this matchup and why?
Yeah, so Mike's going to get moved around a little bit, and I think we'll see some like pick plays and stuff like that for him. He's always a threat in the red zone, regardless of who's in coverage. But it's odd because Mike loves getting the one-on-one coverage. However, the Broncos will allow him to get that one-on-one coverage because of Patrick Surtain. They'll have him line up against really anyone. So I'm going to go with the push in this one. I think Mike has some moments. I agree with you. I do think he scores a touchdown in this game. But Surtain will stop a couple of the big shots that they want to take with Mike. I still think it'll be a productive day. But I think you'll see a little bit more of Jalen McMillan because of, this matchup. And we'll obviously talk about Chris Godwin in a moment. So out of respect for the talent of each of these players, I will go with a push.
I'm going to go with the push too, and I'm going to go so far as to say Mike Evans is going to get a touchdown on Patrick Surtain, and he's going to break that record at home. But I also think Patrick Surtain is going to get an interception on Baker Mayfield because Baker's going to trust Mike a little too much in some situations, and it's going to come back to bite Baker on at least one throw. So I think this is going to be a push. In the end, Tampa Bay is going to win this game, and Mike's touchdown is going to be more impactful than Patrick Surtain's interception. But I'm with you. I think this is a legitimate push. But have no fear. If Mike Evans is covered, Matt, the Buccaneers have got somebody else who you might heard of, kind of a good wide receiver, Chris Godwin. And he's going to be going up against the nickel cornerback, Jaquan McMillan, in the slot. Wow, man. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this matchup.
Yeah, so I don't know if you recall, Scott, but before the season, we did a Pewter Report roundtable where we all came up with bold predictions for the Bucs this year.
Yeah.
And my bold prediction was that Chris Godwin was going to lead the NFL in receiving yards based on him going back to the slot.
Yep.
Well, right now, he's, I believe, second or third in the NFL in receiving yards. So he's very much in the conversation to get that overall lead. It doesn't matter what team they go up against. It doesn't matter what corners they go up against. Chris Godwin is getting open. They're finding ways to get him the football. Even when Baker has been scrambling and he keeps his eyes down the field, it's Chris Godwin who has been the one that's been the biggest beneficiary of those moments. So no matter how you slice it, Chris Godwin is just being a playmaker and being vintage Chris Godwin. So to me, to take a line from Trey Palmer, no name, no face. It doesn't matter who's trying to guard Chris Godwin because he's just absolutely crushing it right now. So it's Chris Godwin all day.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think because of the attention that Mike gets, and there's going to be some times too where Denver is going to have to put a safety over the top and give Patrick Surtain a little bit of help. It's not going to happen a bunch, but when it does, look for Baker Mayfield to really focus in on Chris Godwin, who's going to work the middle of the field like magic. And I agree. I think this is going to be the right matchup here that Tampa Bay is going to take care of. And the right place to go when you want to watch NFL or college football or any sporting event and have some great food is our friends over at Walk-Ons.
Game day at Walk-Ons is just different. And it starts with the way our teammates prep each dish from our scratch menu. No shortcuts. We are hand cutting every single mozzarella log straight from the block. Hand peeling, stuffing, and bacon wrapping each voodoo shrimp. Hand carving ribeyes for our steaks and po' boys. And hand slicing, then tossing our boneless wings and our house-made sauces. With wall-to-wall TVs and food like this, why would you want to watch anywhere else? That's game day. The Walk-Ons way.
Every time I see Drew Brees, I can't think of anything but a couple things. Number one, he owns a really great restaurant, Walk-Ons, and there's 3 locations in the Tampa Bay area to go see your football and have some great food and drinks, and that's at the Wesley Chapel location up at Lutz, right across from the Outlet Mall. The Midtown Tampa location just down the street from the stadium, that's in your neck of the woods, Matt, and also Lakeland. So make sure that you visit walk-ons. But the other things, his last pass was intercepted in the playoffs by Mike Edwards, a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, who retired him. In his last game was that crushing defeat in 2020 by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in New Orleans as they advanced to the Super Bowl. Well, you can advance to walk-ons and check out their game day specials Saturdays and Sundays. It doesn't get much better than this. $4.49 pints of Michelob Ultra, Bud Light, and Budweiser, as well as 22-ounce pours for $5.99. Heineken Silver, 12-ounce cans, $5. $5 neutral assorted flavors. And don't forget, Walk-Ons has got the best happy hour in Tampa Bay. Happy hour tomorrow for hopefully a victory Monday will be 3 p.m. to close. So make sure when you watch your Monday night game, you do it at Walk-Ons. There's some fantastic drink specials, $3 happy hour pours, $3.99 domestic pints, $4 house wines, $5.49 22-ounce domestic drafts. Great food as well from $6, $7, and $8 to choose from. Tuesday, you have all-day happy hour, including $5 Tito's. Wednesday and Thursday, there's 2 happy hours to enjoy from 3 p.m. to 6 and 9 p.m. to close. And then the final happy hour of the week, Friday from 3 to 6. Make sure you're watching your football and having food and fun at Walk-Ons.
We have to give a special shout out and a thank you to Football Fan for this 1999 super chat. As they say, thank you for all that you guys do. Let's go Bucs. Well, thank you for the kind words. Appreciate the very generous super chat. And hopefully that brings good vibes for the game today. So thank you very much. And we got another one from Redfish. Thank you very much for the $1.99 super chat, who says, you ever think you'd see fans want Robert Hainsey to play? That's a funny thing to think of. Curious what will happen with Justin School at right tackle, because Todd Bowles said something on Friday about we're going to start with him. Made it sound a little vague about potentially a rotation, which I don't think we want to see. But who knows if Hainsey will be involved in that mix.
Yeah, exactly. There's a chance, I think, if you were to see Justin School struggle or get hurt, then Robert Hainsey would come in at right tackle, with the fallback option being Elijah Klein, who started at right tackle for the first time in his career against Jacksonville in the preseason. So hopefully that's not the case today, and School will be on points against Zach Allen and the Broncos defense today. And if you want to check out Pewter Report's coverage during the game, you can do that right here at Pewter Report TV. Matt Matera and Pewter Report's own Josh Capo will be here live at 1 o'clock for Pewter Game Day. And it's going to be fun today. Hopefully the Buccaneers can get the job done and move to 3-0. But that is live on pewterreport.com, Pewter Report TV right here, as well as streaming live on X and Facebook. So a lot of different ways you can catch the show. If you are at the stadium, you can also tune in. You can listen with your headphones. So some people do, which is fantastic, to the expert analysis that Matt and Josh provide. Josh brings the stats and the analytics. Matt brings all of the inside scoop and insight from talking to the players and the coaches at One Buccaneer Place during the week. It's a great way to supplement your enjoyment of Buccaneer football, whether you're at the stadium watching it live or whether you're watching it at home on TV. Just turn down the sound and turn up Pewter Game Day, 1 o'clock right here today.
Yeah, it's tons of fun. We keep it very interactive as well, so the more comments, the better. We put up a lot of comments. We'll also have Aaron Jacobson from the Pat and Aaron Show, and Tom Krasnicki, a.k.a. T. Kras from The Drive, will be joining us sporadically throughout the show as well. Aaron will be on at halftime. T. Kras will be on around start of the fourth quarter. So it should be a lot of fun, always is, and hopefully it ends with the Bucs win as well.
Yeah. Speaking of Pewter Report, there's a great way that you can check out our content and actually earn points for it. You've asked for a Pewter Report app, and we're like, no, we're not going to do it. But here's the next best thing. Autograph, Fandom Rewarded. Download the app for free on the App Store for Apple and Google Play for Android and Google phones. And you can use it for free, too. It's a completely free app that rewards you for reading our content. That's right. You can read the Pewter Report news. You can watch Pewter Report videos and podcasts. And when you do, you earn points that you can cash in for tickets to games as well as merch. So it's a fantastic product, co-founded by Tom Brady, Buccaneer legend and Super Bowl 55 MVP, Rumor has it he also played for the Patriots, I think. I'm trying to confirm that, but I know he was a Buccaneer quarterback and retired as a Tampa Bay legend. So make sure that you use the promo code Pewter to sign up. It's a great place to get all of the news from multiple outlets in one app for your team, whether it's college, pro, whether it's in football or a different sport. Make sure you download the Autograph app and use the promo code Pewter. Completely free to download, completely free to use. Don't wait. Do it today.
And if you do that, make sure you follow us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We are at Pewter Report. And, of course, our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment as well. As Cincy Kid says, let's see Bucs style and profile into a 3-0 record at Ray J. Go Bucs. Woo!
That's right. Ric Flair, Tampa resident.
I heard Ric Flair was at Ferg's last week, so we'll see. We'll see where he is for today's game. Maybe he'll be at the stadium. Who knows?
Yeah, he's definitely a Tampa native, and not native, but he lives in Tampa now, and the roots on the Buccaneers. He's got a couple teams. He's, I think, from Carolina, right? So he's kind of a Panthers fan too, but probably not so much right now.
Yeah, he'll go wherever people invite him, and they can give him stuff. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
all right. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, we've had fun. We've had fun doing this Pewter pregame show. Hopefully, you're enjoying it at the new time, 9 a.m. It's great to wake up with you guys and talk some football early. Keep in mind for some of the later games this year, those kickoffs in the 4 o'clock hour or the night games, and we have one of those coming up on Monday Night Football in just a couple weeks against the Ravens, and of course before then there'll be a road Thursday night game, I should say, against the Falcons. So anytime there is a Pewter game day show, you're going to have a Pewter pregame show the same day at 9 a.m. So whether it's Thursday or Monday or Sunday, make sure that you wake up with us and check out Pewter game day and the Pewter pregame show. The Pewter pregame show is archived on Pewter Report TV, so if you're not catching it live, that's fine. You have plenty of time before the game to watch the show, and make sure you tune in for Pewter Game Day. It's always fun with Matt and Josh leading the way.
Absolutely, positively. So that'll do it for us. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you in a couple of hours for the Pewter Game Day show. Out.